This Reddit requires a trigger warning. Do not eat anything or drink anything or think of any food while listening to this. Just scroll to the next one. This is gross. This woman says, husband won't wipe his butt. She's 25, he's 31. She says, hey, everyone. Myself and hubby have been together for 4 years now. We have a great relationship with very little issues. My main issue is he does not clean his behind properly. What I mean is by this is when he showers, he just doesn't clean it at all, avoids the area, and just washes his butt cheeks. He is a very heavy sweater throughout the day, so the stench from his bunghole can get very strong very quick. I found brown on his bath towel the other day. He also has brown marks in his pants and underwear. One issue he also has is his smell is very poor along with taste. He can only taste spicy things or very sweet things. Oh, when she said his taste, I thought, okay, never mind. Also, he cannot smell his stinky smells. He cannot smell his underarms when they stink. I have to remind him. I've talked to him about it a few times and nothing changes. Sometimes he has to go and wash before I give him any oral sex. Just because the smell is so bad. It once made me vomit when I went down on him. I have a strong stomach. Why are you? Ugh. What do I do? What do I do? You stop doing this. Okay. The only issue in our marriage currently is I don't give him oral as much because I am tired of asking him to wash properly and it embarrasses him every time. He's someone with a very high sex drive as well, so this is starting to put a strain on him. I love my husband. He means the world to me and more. I'm just not sure how to fix this. You can't fix a man's unhygienic behaviors. You can't fix this. I also want to point out that I am very hygienic. I'm a very hygienic person. I mean, I have braces. I brush my teeth multiple times a day. I have a bidet on our toilet. Showers every day. Edit post. Post is locked. I can't reply to comments, but I can post this edit. I'm not too Reddit savvy. Thank you all for your replies. A lot of you have been saying, how am I still attracted to him, married to him, giving him nookie and oral, etc. When I started noticing his bad hygiene, it grossed me out and turned me off to the max, to the point I didn't even want to hug him. Then I mentioned it to him for the first time. He got defensive and didn't want to talk about it anymore, but he said he would wash it better. I was thrilled. We kept hunching, but I did not give him any oral as I was still very turned off from the situation. I started noticing when he would get up from the bed, I would smell it. I mentioned it to him again and got the same response. Then he meets with me a few weeks later saying he's feeling very self conscious about not receiving any oral. I will say he did guilt me into giving him some and is basically permanently put me off from giving him any orals. I stay with him because I love him. I know how it sounds and I would say that's ridiculous and to improve my self-respect if I saw someone else say it, but it's true. I couldn't imagine my life without him. This wasn't an issue until about 1.5 years into our relationship. I was even hesitant on marrying him due to the issue. I convinced myself it would be fixed eventually and married him. I am going to withhold Nookie and try to speak to him again about it, but firmly, like many of you have said. I'll also try to post an update in a few weeks. I would love to be active frequently with him again, but it's just such a turnoff. Thank you all for your input and help. The things that some people put up with just to be married, I, this is mind boggling. You don't have to put up with this, people. You don't. This is unnecessary. Love is not stronger than poop. This is not. Jesus wouldn't want you to go through this. Jesus would not. Neither would Buddha. Beyonce totally would not. Nor, yeah, the late great Tina Turner would not want you to go through this. to have a husband. Just leave these people alone. Mr. Meth says, picturing your husband in my head has me disgusted. Is he Maltese? Very thick, black body hair, big solid guy, about 2, occasionally 3 brain cells that are maxed out when engaged in simple conversation. He created a whole picture of this man. The OP says, this made me giggle. He's actually British with very little body hair. He's very intelligent. He runs an agency. He's honestly incredible. It's just, I can't get it in my head why he can't do this. And then one proof says he's not very incredible with the stinky bunghole. He's not. This is not, people with poopy buttholes, I would not say are incredible. I would not say that. Inevitable Tank says, does he have hemorrhoids? Pain could be causing him not to want to wipe. My ex had this problem and never wanted to admit it till I lost my mind about it. It's disgusting and disrespectful. I was going to divorce him until I found out it was because of a medical issue. I got him treatment for his roids and he started wiping like a human being. Wet wipes also helped. The OP says he didn't even know they were a thing until I got one myself about 8 months ago. He doesn't have any pain. He even wants me to perform backdoor acts for him. I don't believe pain is a factor at all, but I wish it was at this point so I could fix it and possibly resolve the issue. Women want to do too much. Why does she think that she has to fix this for a grown man? The OP was getting a lot of comments. She says, thank you all. I feel so bad about it. I don't even mention it anymore. All of these comments are so valid and makes me feel validated as well. I am going to take all this advice. Wish me luck. Real But Hidden says, if he makes you feel like the bad guy for bringing it up, remember, he's the one not wiping his butt or cleaning his peen and asking you to pleasure that. So that's disgusting of him to even think about doing that. Yes. And that's where we're going to end it. Ladies that are, I mean, she is going to accept whatever. But to you that's watching this, you don't have to accept this. You don't. You don't have to accept poopy butt. Jump in the comments. Let me know what you think. Like, comment, share. Okay, so this was posted in my BurbNBougie subreddit. Dream and Recluse says, do women have no self-preservation instincts? This is driving me a little nuts. After being on Reddit and following other creators like Burb, this thought just keeps percolating in my brain that women seem to have no self-preservation instincts. There seems to be no sense of danger. I need to get away, especially when it comes to personal relationships. And to some extent, women seem to believe there is virtue and value in sacrificing themselves for everyone else. I see so many stories of women experiencing blatant abuse and disrespect, and most of the time they are asking how to fix it. No, I'm in danger. I need to leave. No sense of I need to preserve myself. It seems so sad and depressing to me, and the more I see it, I can't stop thinking about it. Do you think women have self-preservation instincts? If yes, how is it displayed? If no, why do you think this is, and what can we do to change it? I don't think that we have enough self-preservation instincts. Like when I am talking about the trad wife to single motherhood pipeline or the trad wife to poverty videos, people push back so hard against me talking about having a plan B, C, D, E, F, G, and they act like women are not supposed to survive. We are so programmed to give. We're programmed to turn off our brains and turn off our common sense. It is conditioning. It's socialization to like not want to. I don't know what it is, but it's socialization of some sort. I need you to weigh in on what you think it is, but I'm going to read some of these comments and we can come to a conclusion together because I really do want to see some women choose themselves first instead of giving until there's nothing left. Radical Mind says it's called indoctrination. A lot of women were told to trust men or abused into doing it. Psychological warfare is real. Stockholm Syndrome. Account Necessary says, yes, we have intuition, but ignore and dismiss due to social conditioning. The lucky ones either had parents who taught them to listen to it or eventually learned to listen to it in spite of social conditioning. XI545 says we are all taught to be polite. And then Radical Mind responds with exactly, as well as boys hit you because they like you. And the thing is, though, the whole boys hit you because they like you, and also because getting spanked, getting whooped is equated to discipline, and your parents discipline because they love you. So parents are also conditioning that hitting equals love as well. XI545 says that is one of the most tragic because they tell you that in pre-kindergarten. And then Radical Mind says just goes to show how from young childhood to adulthood, girls and women are conditioned to believe dysfunction is okay and it's normal. That hinders us in the long run. And then the OP says, you are right. I see this in the women in my family, especially my mom and sister. We would have long discussions about certain things, and even when they admit that logically I'm right, something doesn't make sense, it's not fair or right, they go right back to doing the same thing. My sister at first refuses to leave her abusive husband because God doesn't believe in divorce. She only left when it dawned on her that she was going to that he was going to unalive her if she stayed. She is still a Christian that believes the man is the head of the family, installed by God to lead. And Black Baby says the church will force a wife to stay with her abusive husband because, forgiveness and all. Yes, we are programmed. We are indoctrinated. She continues with, yet when you look at the attendees, the majority is women without their husbands or single women. They're preaching to the wrong crowd. Born Inspector says, came here to say this. When you've been conditioned your entire life to question, doubt, and ignore your instincts, emotions, and intuition, it looks a lot like lack of self-preservation. It's a system that has been perpetrated and refined by patriarchy to create more docile and easily exploitable victims. Domestication, if you will. How do you think we got golden retrievers from freaking wolves? Great point. They certainly do indoctrinate that whole instinct out of us. Anne Marie says, in my opinion, we are groomed by society and family structures that we are the weaker sex, and that if we leave our relationships, we are failures. We are trained that men are our protectors. We are taught that we need a man. Otherwise, there's something wrong with us. If our partners treat us shitty, what did we do to make him mad? It started with our great grandparents and trickled down generations. We need to instill confidence in our daughters and make sure they know their worth. We need to raise our sons to value women. It took me a long time to see red flags when it came to my relationships. We have to love ourselves and not to treat being single as a disease. Not from here, my dear says, I think it's because some of us fall deeper for the lies society taught us. I remember seeing a movie as a 7-year-old where the woman tried to explain something to the guy. She was upset, and in the middle of talking, when he just shuts her up by kissing her, I was like, whoa. So this is how a man is showing his love? I was 7. For the longest time, I thought crap like this was romantic, not disrespectful. I'm not blaming everything on movies, but the crap they make us, think is normal. Yes, and for the longest time, these movies and books and all of these media were created by men, basically to program us. That's why they're called programming, these sitcoms where we're laughing at women and men get to be the bumbling idiot, or where romance is chase, 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 and turn a no into a yes, which shows lack of boundaries or lack of respect for boundaries, and wishy-washy consent and all of that. We have been programmed by the patriarchy, by men. Teaching OK says, when I was a teenager, I had a friend. We were at some fly-by-night carnival. My friend had made friends with two 30-plus-year-old carnival workers who had invited us back to their trailer to hang out. She accepted and was going to go. I could not believe her. I am sure no harm would have come to us. Sarcasm. I put an end to it, and we pretty much stopped being friends after that. But in asking why she thought that was okay, she seemed to have this very childish and naive thought about men. She had no male relatives, while I had a father and a brother. And I think she thought men were like they were on TV. I think most women need a class on how men really are in their preteen years, taught by a man. So many women without close males are very naive about men for years. I also think there is a real effort by society to hide this fact. TV and movies speak for themselves, but I see many courts now have fake programs for teens and young people to participate in, so they won't see the reality of the scum that comes in and out of courts. So I'm going to end it there. I do think that we are programmed to not see or see red flags or yellow danger signs or stop signs. But I do want you to weigh in and let me know what you think. Okay, so this is an update for an Am I the A-hole thread. This is the post. Am I the a-hole for telling my husband that his affair child is not welcome in our home and that if he wants custody, he will have to move out? Let's do the original post and then I will jump back to this post. So she says, my husband and I have been married for 9 years. In 2021, we found out my husband was being sued for child support. Turned out my husband had an affair shortly after we were married. It nearly ended our marriage, but we went to counseling together and I agreed to stay in the marriage with the following provisions. My husband was to get a second job so that his child support payments did not affect our household budget, and that at no point in time would I ever consider having a relationship with this child. If he wanted to pursue one with them, fine, but I have absolutely zero interest in this kid. So my husband has been getting to know his kid over the past couple of years. And recently my husband came to me and informed me that there was some sort of baby mama drama. Apparently she has to self-surrender in May and is going to be incarcerated for 8 months. My husband told me he needed to take custody while his affair partner is locked up. Otherwise, the kid would have to go to their grandparents, who basically live across the coast from us. Their kid doesn't want to have to change schools or be so far away from their friends, dad and mom. She will be doing her time fairly local to us. So after my husband told me that, I got up and left the house. I went to the grocery store on the corner and grabbed a copy of our area's apartment guide and went back home and handed it to him. He asked me if I were serious. I told him I still felt the same way as I did 3 years ago. He said he didn't think it was fair considering the extenuating circumstances. I told him I don't care about the circumstances. His kid is not welcome in my home. If he wanted to take custody, I will grant him an amicable divorce. But I am not changing my mind. I am not taking care of some other chick's kid. For all the people concerned about what a whip cracker I am in making my poor husband work 2 jobs, he has never had a full-time job since we have been together. He works 2 part-time retail jobs that now add up to 40 to 50 hours a week. He currently only has supervised visitation with his kids, and they see each other once or twice a month for a couple of hours with the social worker present. And for those who seem to think that I need to be the one to file for divorce, no, I will not. I'm not the one who created this situation. If my husband wants to pursue custody, I have told him I will not fight it. I will grant him an amicable divorce and let him be on his way. However, I am not going to waste my own time, energy, and money to do so. He is responsible for getting his own ducks in a row for the situation he created. That includes being the one to go through the headache of filing. Okay, so that was the first post. Let's get to the update. She says, after posting this, my husband and I continued to discuss the situation. I held firm and iterated again. I will not live with a child, and if my husband wants to pursue this, he will have to find other housing. We discussed divorce. We discussed temporarily separating. We discussed a lot. We sat down and had a pretty big financial talk. He is not involved in our financial planning. I showed him the numbers he realistically had to work with. I told my husband the truth that while I love him, I won't lose sleep if we divorce. He has to do what's right for his own happiness and his kid. My husband had a bit of a breakdown over that. There was a lot of crying and him telling me that he loved me and didn't want to lose me. I broke down myself. We had a good cry together. He asked if we could go back to our marriage counselor. He needs her money. She showed him the numbers and he cried. So I made an appointment. We went, we discussed the same things above, but with the counselor present. It basically boils down to my husband being very overwhelmed and conflicted about everything. He confessed he really didn't want to be an active parent, but feels like he is supposed to. There's some deep stuff in there about his own family and race tied into it. So complicated emotions. He's terrified of losing me. He wants to prioritize our marriage. Hearing me say that I wouldn't lose sleep over divorcing him left him shook. Our counselor strongly suggested that my husband get into individual therapy and gave some referrals. My husband has not pursued that. It did become pretty obvious to my husband that he was not in a place mentally or financially where he could take full custody though. So the kid is now in Virginia with maternal grandparents. My husband was actually going to go visit the kid for their birthday this weekend. I gifted my husband some of my airline miles to buy his plane ticket. I did his laundry last night while he was at work, so he'd had clean stuff to pack. However, my husband dropped the ball on his trip. I had plans for this afternoon that I left early for, so I wasn't home when he was supposed to get up and leave. He stayed up late playing video games last night and overslept. Ended up missing his flight and couldn't afford last minute tickets on another. He's in a pissy mood and is playing Elder Scrolls now, trying to get his mind off of it. I've got my sister and some friends coming over in a few for a salsa canning party in a bit. So I'm hoping he gets into a good groove with his game because I'm going to have so much margarita. There's so much in this story. There's so much in this story. But I think that what I circled here in red kind of sums it up. She says, OP, wisdom is chasing after you, but clearly, you're way too fast. Wisdom is chasing after you, but clearly you're way too fast. So she has enough sense to know that she's set the boundaries. She's communicating clearly. She has her finances together. But she is accepting a lot. And this man, she just seems like she is pulling along a teenager. He is not on top of his own stuff. And yeah, this is just a whole mess. I think that this is enough to say wisdom is chasing after you, but clearly you're way too fast. And that is enough. I want to know what you think of this. I am not thinking too favorably about this. Maybe she's sticking with him because she knows that he's about to fail and flail without her, just like he broke down because he knows he's going to fail and flail without her. And he really doesn't want to be a dad. He's not working very much. He clearly can support himself. He and she is taking pity on him. Y'all jump in. Let me know what you think about this one. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.